Hey guys, it's Quinn with Exploring My Racial Identity. A while back, a friend and I were having a conversation, and they said, if you think of white supremacy as a substance or a drug or something that people use or abuse, um, if you recognize that, then white people would be the substance abusers, and people of color would be the co-addicts, or the people who are living with that abuser. So if you think of it in the terms of like alcoholics abuse alcohol. Al-anons are the people who live in the home with an alcoholic, maybe it be family, friends, coworkers, etc. And so each person has their own reality of dealing with how the substance has affected their lives. So to help me with understanding this, one thing that I'm doing is I love self-help books and stuff like that, but I've started to look at the addiction recovery books about all kinds of um, addictions to help me, one, understand the mind of the addict, white people who support white supremacy either willingly or passively. And now I'm just now allowing myself to look at the anon stuff for the co-addict, the person who lives with the person who's accepting white supremacy. Because first thing I wanted to do is look at how I uphold white supremacy. What are the things that I do that keep the system going? And some of the things that I do that keep the system going is by not addressing it, by being people's only black friend. Um, that I have a black friend, and it's usually been me. And so I'm having to look at my part in that and to stop it. But now I'm looking at the anon stuff, which is more for taking care of yourself while you are living with someone going through an addiction phase or addiction issues. Um, so I didn't know this program existed because I've heard of Al-Anon, and I've heard of Coda, um, but those were the only ones that I really knew of. And I guess there's Narcanon. I've never really known anyone on drugs, so I've never really looked into that one. And I guess I should look at that literature too. Um, but this one, because we moved to Fresno and there's casinos everywhere, there are gamblers. And so there's actually a Gamblers Anonymous, which I didn't know that. And there is a Gam Anon for the people who live with a gambler. So I did get that book because it was like, okay, it's real in the area of where I live. Um, and so it's pretty interesting. I just started reading it. But I love what I'm loving in these books is this one is the first time I've seen in one of the because I've read a little of Coda, but it's the first time that I'm really seeing that where it's talking about what is good mental health, what can you do to keep yourself emotionally healthy, um, and what I really, really liked was it tells you this is kind of measuring the value of when you are recovering. This is what you will start doing. And I'm like, ooh, that's kind of cool. So I'm like, ooh, how can we as people of color, when we are still starting to recover from dealing with supremacy and those who uphold it, how would we start behaving in ourselves? So I'm like, oh, this is cool, having the goal of where you're going to. Um, One of the things it says here is, okay, it's a handy yardstick for measuring the value of Gamanon. So, what have you. It says you have a tolerant, easygoing attitude toward yourself as well as towards others. You estimate your own abilities realistically. That is, you neither underestimate nor overestimate them. You respect yourself. You are able to take life's disappointments in stride. You feel that you are a part of the group. You have a sense of responsibility to the group and to your fellow members. You accept your responsibilities and do something about your problems as they arise. You are able to give love to others and to consider their interests. You are able to set realistic goals for yourself. You put your best efforts into what you do and get satisfaction out of it. You feel a strong need to help another member or another person who lives with the problem, and you realize the tremendous satisfaction in doing so. You find life fulfilling. Um, so this is kind of cool because, like, I like hypnosis. And one thing that we do in hypnosis is we look at what is the end result? What is it that you will want to realize or that you will achieve as having addressed whatever your problem or issue is? And so a lot of this, I find myself when I'm centered, yeah, I can be tolerant and easygoing towards myself and others. A lot of times when I'm not centered, I can't. It's very difficult. It's like, you want me to be tolerant towards someone who's abusive? Excuse me. You want me to be tolerant towards someone who is trying to suppress or harm me? How am I supposed to think that way? So I think it's really cool to have this. Once I've started loving and nurturing myself and taking care of myself, that I can be more centered and balanced as the universe would have me be, versus how dysfunction or current society dysfunction would have me be. Um, so that's a really beautiful concept to look at. Some of the things that I'm getting to see now is like the more that I remove my focus from white people and white supremacy, people who are just blatantly racist, or people who even are inadvertently racist. My husband, you just saw him leave. Sometimes he says stupid crap that's like not intentional, but instead of me focusing all of my energy on that thing that he has said, and if I focus that energy on healing me or another black person, to listen to another black person's experiences, to affirm what he or she is going through, the more balanced I am and the less I care about that little thing that might have been said or that expectation that someone might have placed upon me. Um, and I find I'm a lot healthier and happier because of it. Because really, what I feel like with supremacy has done to people of color is disconnected us, has made us less whole, or as if we're not full human beings. And each time that I take a moment to affirm my humanity, I can reach out and help to affirm the humanity of other people of color, and to respect our journey and where we're going with this. And I have less time dealing, I guess, less time being irritated at the stuff that white folks do. I'd stop centering it. So it's really cool that these programs are basically on your decentering the addict and learning more to deal with yourself and what is your responsibility towards yourself. And if that responsibility is to get out of the presence of that addict, okay. Or to stop, I guess with gamblers, stop giving money to an addict, stop driving them to the casino, whatever. It's like, okay, you look at your part in this and get the hell out of it, so that you can be happier instead of trying to control what that other person is doing. So I'm like, oh, this is sexy. So I'm going to make a goal to try to vlog every day in June, whether it'll be here with discovering my racial identity, or if it will be with the exploring my PTSD experience. PTSD while black. I forgot I have 2 vlogs. But I'm going to make it a goal to vlog every day in June, and most likely here with racial identity, I will be looking at the um, co-addict material that I found, and sharing what it means to do that, because I find I'm a lot more centered when I take the time to read and look at what this means to me. Yeah, so that's where I am. Till next time. Peace.